Okay, there it is. Welcome everybody. This is really the first Business Builders Zoom that I have had that's been my own. So welcome. And I kind of briefed a few of you on this before, but I'm going to have this be mostly just me talking, minimal questions because I know your time is valuable, so I don't want to take up a ton of time with all of us asking different questions. So I'm going to try to address a lot of stuff that's been going on in the past month or so that I've seen, but then just in general, we're going to talk about just how to grow a business with Plexus and do just some basic step stuff first. So if you have questions at all, just jot them down, and then at the end, you can just address it in our three-way chats. So whoever is your direct upline, if it's not me, just make sure that you're in that three-way chat and asking questions if there's something I didn't cover tonight, okay? Okay, so first I'm gonna kind of break down the 4 pillars of Plexus, and it's really all social marketing, I think, but at least for our business, these are the 4 pillars that there are. There's recruiting, retention, duplication, and leadership. Today I'm going to focus on recruiting and retention because I feel like that's where we all kind of are in our businesses. And then I'm going to start doing these every month, just once a month. We're going to have a Zoom of our team. And next month we're going to focus on duplication and leadership because by then the people that are newer will have a few people recruited, so it'll make more sense to cover duplication then. Does that sound good to everybody? Cool. Okay, so recruiting first. We have to remember that this is a relationship business. So when we are recruiting people, we are forming relationships with them and getting to know them, and relationships come first, Plexus comes second. People are not going to be joining Plexus, they're going to be joining you. So you want to make sure that when you are posting, you're posting things that align with Plexus, post things that people want to be a part of, take the negativity out of your posts, and just be a super positive influence on Facebook and Instagram and whatever else you use, and just in your daily life, because people are joining you, not your product that you're selling. So that's my first tip for all of you. And then yeah, just make sure that you're learning to connect with people because that's what this is all about. The more that you make connections with people and the more connected you are with them, and it's not surface level anymore, the more they're going to trust you to try any product that you tell them about. So just make sure that you're keeping the relationship first. Oh, I forgot to mute you all, but I don't really hear anybody else talking. Let me see. I don't really know how to mute you all, so if it's an issue, I'll do it manually. I'm muting you. Okay. Okay. And then to kind of go back to the very beginning stuff, what we do for Plexus to build our businesses is called income producing activity, or IPA. That first part of that is posting. So we want to make sure that we're posting pretty consistently on Facebook and Instagram or whatever platforms that we use. And we want to do 3 posts per day ideally. If you're new to this and you're new to posting, and posting 3 times a day seems like super crazy, huge amounts, it's okay. Talk to your upline and we'll come up with a way that we can make it more comfortable for you to share more often, and we can build up to that. We don't have to start posting 3 times a day if you post 1 time a week. So we'll work on that together, but ideally it's 3 posts per day. 2 of those are personal posts, and 1 of them is Plexus. And you always want your personal posts to outweigh your Plexus posts, just like I was saying before, because this is a relationship business. People want to know what is going on in your life. They don't just want to look at your page and see a Plexus advertisement. So they're going to start scrolling past that if that's the only content that you're giving them. So make sure you're talking about your life. Post your kids, post something funny that happened, post inspirational quotes, whatever that is that makes you happy, post that stuff, and then the people are going to want to join you the more that you're transparent about who you are, if that makes sense. When you're posting, everybody tends to scroll past just a bunch of words. So I would say make sure there's a picture attached, or some kind of graphic that they can look at, a video, because they're going to just scroll past a bunch of words. You can C-A-N, no T, you can copy and paste and use other people's posts from Plexus. So don't feel like you have to create original content all the time. But you want to make sure that you're not doing that in the same day. So if somebody posts something that you really like, save that, and then later on, like a week or so later, then you can post it. We want to get out of the habit of posting it right away, just because then people are going to see that you're taking the post, and then some people will see yours and some people won't, because Facebook treats it as spam. So make sure that you're waiting at least a couple of days before you're using somebody's post, just so that their post can be seen by their viewers. If you have different friends, it's not as big of a deal because it won't be seen by all the same people, but still just be cautious of that because you don't want to hide somebody else's post. So wait a couple days if you like somebody's post. Let's see. We do IPA chats. Most of you are in the January one, some of you are not, and that's okay. You can either be added. If you want to be added, make a note to yourself that you want to talk to me about being added, and I can add you in. Otherwise, you can join the February one, but that's just an accountability group where we post that we have done stuff each day. So I did my IPA for the day. I post in there that I did my IPA so that I know and that they know that we're doing our things to grow our business. So that's just a plug for IPA chats. If you want your business to grow, it's super important to be in those. So if you're not in that already, let your upline know if that is not me, and we can get you in. Post bumpers. I've been wanting to talk to you all about this, and most of you I have kind of gone back through our individual chats and let you know. For those of you that are not in post bumpers, when we post very often, we are in this group called Post Bumpers where we say, hey, I have a post up on this, and then everybody goes in and comments on your post. You want to have at least 3 comments on each post in order for it to be seen by more of your friends, so that's why we have that. Lately, a lot of attention has been on post bumpers, and I think we're putting maybe too much of our stock in that. We should not be using post bumpers as our main IPA during the day. That's not going to grow your business. Commenting on other people's pictures is super important, and we want to make sure that we're supporting our fellow teammates, but we also want to be commenting on people's stuff that are not in Plexus, because that's how they're going to see our posts. So we want to be reaching out to people and commenting on non-Plexus people's posts so that they will see our posts. And the only time really that we're going into post bumpers is if we don't have enough posts or enough comments on our posts. So if we have something that we posted and there's only 1 comment on it, and it's been a couple hours, then you can go in and say, hey guys, I only have 1 comment. Can you guys please comment on this post for me? What is that, Taylor? I am for 20 non-Plexus likes, yes, and 5 Plexus comments, yeah. So we want to be, like she's saying, you want to be commenting on other people's stuff and not just Plexus people. And then if you don't have enough comments, that's when you're going into post bumpers and doing all of your rounding and all of that kind of thing. The only time, I mean, if you're done with all your IPA for the day and you're just like relaxing on the couch, then go ahead and say that you're rounding in post bumpers and go through there and round on everybody's posts. But if you haven't done all your posts yet and you're just la-di-da and you haven't done all your IPA yet, don't worry about rounding, because it's more important to get your business growth stuff done first. So I hope that makes sense. Post bumpers is great. I think we all need to support each other, but we shouldn't make that our top priority. It should be one of our lower priorities in terms of growing our business. Okay, that took longer than I thought. Sorry about that. Okay, the next way that we recruit is reaching out to people. So I was just watching, if you haven't watched the 4 Pillars video, there's a Brooke Hemingway, Emily Gibson, these amazing diamonds in our company made this video, and actually corporate interviewed them for it. Brooke Hemingway is in there talking about recruiting, and she was saying that when she reaches out to people, and this is super important, you want to talk less and listen more. So you're going to be asking them a lot of questions. Make it about them. Don't make it about yourself. You don't want to say, like, I felt these benefits, and I feel good, and and look at my link, and look at this testimony. You want to be asking them and learning their personality, learning what they love, learning what products they need, learning just in their life what they need. When you're talking to them, if you realize that they maybe need connection or they feel like they need friendship, you can talk about that part of Plexus too. Like, it's not just the products, it's also the friendship. So you want to be making sure that you're making all of your chats about the person that you are talking to and not making it about yourself. So talk less, listen more, learn about people so you can speak to them in their language and ask them a lot of questions so you know what they need, okay? And then you also want to follow up with those people. So let's say they say no the first time, which most people do, and you're going to go back in and follow up every couple of weeks. Or if you see something that reminds you of them, a testimony or something, then you pop back into that chat and you say, hey, I saw this testimony, it made me think of you because XYZ. Is this something that you want to try? Okay. And then when you go to enroll people, I actually need to work on this too, but we should be doing that over the phone. So you should be calling people and talking them through it, so then that way you can answer any questions that come up. So if they say, like, why do we put the social security number in when we're signing up to be an ambassador, you can tell them about how that if you make commission on your own products, anything over 100 PV, you get commission back, so that's how they attach it to you. And you can kind of nip that in the bud right away, rather than them doing it on their own and then you later find out they didn't fill out the rest of it because they didn't want to put their social security number in, even though it was a simple thing that you could have communicated over the phone. Does that make sense? Thumbs up if that makes sense. So I think we should all work on signing people up over the phone. Unless we can't. Like, there are times when we're working or whatever and people end up signing up, but we should be aiming to do it over the phone. And then three-way chats. I just did a video about this in the Silver Bells group. I don't know if you guys saw this or saw that today, but when you are enrolling people, or not enrolling, sorry, when you're recruiting people, if they have questions that you don't know how to answer or if they just need extra support, always add your direct upline into that chat, and then your upline can help you with recruiting those people and just help you with like detox and stuff like that when people are on their products. So don't forget about the three-way chats. As the sponsor of the person, it is your responsibility to keep those chats going though. So I want you to know that. So if you haven't heard from somebody in a while, it's your responsibility to go in there into that three-way chat and make sure that that conversation keeps going. So don't put that on your upline or anything like that. You want to be continuing that conversation on your own, and you want to be checking in weekly. So what I'm going to be doing, I need to send this out because I think most of you have it, but there is a way to follow up 4 times in a month, and that's going to be in this next part about retention. But there's a form that tells you what questions to ask each week to make sure that they're liking their products. So I will make sure that you guys all have that. Or how about this? If you don't have it, write it down, jot a note to yourself, and then tell me that you don't have that so I can get that to you. So we can make sure that we're all following up with our people appropriately and making sure that they like the products. Okay? Okay, so the next pillar is retention. Let's see. Yes, so following up, asking people the right questions at the right times. Emily Gibson is the one that made this follow-up chart, and there's a 30-day check-in form. So like in the first 4 days, you ask how they like the taste of the pink drink. Obviously, we're not going to be asking, did you lose a bunch of weight yet? Because it's been 4 days. So you want to ask, did you like the taste of the pink drink? And it's all written out in that form. So I guess I don't really need to go into that too much because it's going to be on the form that I send you guys, but just make sure that you're asking lots of questions and providing really good customer service to people, because that is first and foremost, okay? Let's see. If you find yourself saying that something is not in your personality, so you say like, it's not in my personality to post on Facebook, it's not in my personality to check in with people all the time, it's not in my personality to reach out to people, really what you should be saying is it's not in your comfort zone, but we all need to get outside of that comfort zone a little bit in order to stretch and to grow. There's lots of things that I never thought that I would be doing. If, like I was just telling Bobby earlier, if you would have told me a year ago that I'm leaving a Zoom tonight, I would have laughed in your face because I never would be doing something like this. It's not in my personality, but it's just outside of my comfort zone. So this is me getting outside of my comfort zone, and we all will grow more if we do stuff like that. So don't be afraid to reach out to people. Make sure you're following up. If they are telling you they're detoxing and you don't like helping people through detox because it scares you, do it anyway because you want to help them through that and give them really good customer service. So that's my recruiting and retention stuff there. I'm going to make sure I send out that list of how to follow up with people, and that is super, super important. If you're feeling like you're lacking in one of these areas, there's tons of videos in Pink Power and in Rock Your Purpose that help with those things too. I know Erin did a team call on recruiting, so if you're feeling like you need a little extra in one of these areas, look for videos for sure. Ask me, ask your upline, and we can help you with that stuff too. So the things that I really wanted to hit home with tonight were post bumpers thing I talked about, making sure that we use three-way chats and making sure that you're coming back to the three-way chats for when you're following up with people too. We want to keep those rolling. If people are following up with you in your single chats and they're like texting you on the side and saying like, hey, this is great, or hey, this is awful, in either direction, you want to, even if it's something you know how to answer, bring it back to the three-way chat because that shows the importance of the three-way chats for them too. So that's huge. And then a couple other little plugs that I have. We want to make sure that we are in the Monday night calls and Thursday night book clubs. These are huge. I think that's when I started growing the most, is when I was consistently on Monday night calls. And those are at 9:30 Eastern time, 8:30 Central. I feel like I need to give all of the time zones because we have so many people across the country, but 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, and then just calculate that back to wherever you live. So Monday night calls and Thursday night book club is at the same time on Thursdays, and those are phenomenal as well for personal growth and just learning how to deal with people, learning just different things about yourself. So we're starting a new book tomorrow, so if you want to be a part of that, it's not too late. Even if you don't have the book yet, you can just listen in tomorrow. We're talking about 25 ways to win with people with John C. Maxwell. So the first chapter is all we've read so far, and it's phenomenal. So if you have the book, definitely read it. If you don't, you should get it and be on those calls because they're super important. Trying to think if there's anything else I needed to talk about tonight. I don't think so right now because we're going to do the other two pillars next month. So I will save that for then. Let me just see if I have any questions I need to address here. Oh, book club. Yes, hold on. I will get to that in just a second. Yes, I like the idea of not putting so much stock into post bumpers too, Jess. 9:30 kills you. I know, Abby. It is hard. I know I like that I'm in the central time zone because 8:30 is pretty easy still. If 9:30 is hard for you, if it's late, I would say even just having it on your phone and having the video off and having yourself muted and just putting it in a headphone while you lay in bed, that's totally doable. We do record those calls and they are posted the next day. But it's just so much more inspiring and awesome to be live with all those people at the same time and learning from them. The Monday night calls especially have been 30 minutes or less lately, which has been amazing. So that's only half an hour, which isn't terrible, and it's just one night a week. And then the book clubs sometimes go a little bit long, but at least if you could be on for the first 30 minutes, even if you're just in bed with a headphone in, it's really inspiring to be there with everybody. But if you can't, they do record them, so that's always an option too. So book club, yes. So every week we read a chapter of the book that we're reading, and then somebody is assigned to lead that. It's usually a jewel or somebody close to jewel status that goes over that chapter for the week. So they will have everything laid out and they'll talk about the chapter. So that's why if you don't have the book yet, you can still listen along because they're going to talk about what happened in the chapter, or what they learned from the chapter, and you can learn from what they are bringing to the table. And then at the end of them talking about it, usually they try to keep that to 15-20 minutes, then we all can discuss it. You don't have to discuss. It's better if you do, for sure, if you get in there and say like the things that you thought were really great about it. You can chat just in the little chat thing to the side too. But yeah, then we just discuss it afterwards. It's really, really great. I never leave a Monday night call or a book club without feeling super inspired about something. So definitely I encourage you guys to all be a part of those. Yes, chat's so important. Huge help until you get your feet wet. Yes, I'm just reading these comments. I don't know if you can all see them. But yes, Emily, three-way chats are super important. I agree. And I guess I need to read these later. But I'm going to open this up to questions for 5 minutes. And then any other questions, just ask in the three-way chats, okay? If you have a question, you can unmute yourself.
I do have a quick question. So I get the first month of like how to follow up with with ambassadors because we went over that previously, you and I had, but I don't know how to follow up after that. Is it monthly? Is it bi-weekly? Should it still be weekly?
It really depends on the person and their needs. So I, at the very least, check in with people once per month. The people that are a little more complex, or if they had a lot of detox, then it's going to be more than that because I want to make sure that they're still liking their stuff. So let's say week 3, somebody has terrible detox and they're like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Then I'm not going to wait. I won't even wait another week until I follow up. It'll be like 3 days and then I go back in and see how they're doing with any adjustments I tell them about. And then the next month, it's probably going to be more often that I follow up until they're comfortable with their regimen.
Okay, so if someone isn't like responding or doesn't seem really interested, I guess, in you checking in on them, is that when you typically back off?
Yeah, I do. I guess I kind of word it differently than each time. If I haven't heard from somebody in a long time and I've been trying to get a hold of them, I'll say something like, I haven't heard from you and I'd love to hear how things are going, but we can't put it all on ourselves either, because if we are trying to reach out to them and see how they're doing and they're not reciprocating that and following up back with us, we have done our part. So we can't be upset with ourselves for something because we're trying to help them and they're not accepting our help. So some people, if they fall off and that's why, it's not on us at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you just want to see everyone succeed, so you just yeah.
I know, it's hard. I was just talking to Emily about this today. It's hard to let some of those people go, but we can't just drag people through all the time, and we want to help them through, and that's why we are communicating with them. But then if they're not doing their part to communicate back with us, then we just have to let it go sometimes.
Yeah, it's true. They have to want it as well.
Right. We can't want it for them and we can't do it for them. So we just do our part and help them and give them the best customer service and friendship that we have. And if they don't reciprocate it, then we gave it our all. Now, I don't want you to just give up right away, but I would say when it comes to a point where they're really just not responding to you, then it's just time to let it go. Yeah. Okay, we have 3 minutes until I wanted to end the call. So if there's one more question, we can do one more.
I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How long so obviously building relationships first and finding out about the person and what their goals and things are. How long, I know I watched part of the 4 Pillars thing and she mentioned like sometimes she'll go months of talking to somebody before she even brings up plexus. But then on the other hand, I see so many posts about like, let's get you silver this month. So it seems like there's a lot of pressure to bring it up really quickly. How long do you usually wait to even bring that into conversation and what's been most effective for you?
Yeah, it really depends. And it depends on the person and your relationship with them. So if you know them already, if there's somebody that is your friend, then that's somebody that you can more quickly bring it up and say, hey, you know me already. I wouldn't tell you about the product if I didn't think it actually worked. This is why I think it would be really helpful for you. So if you know somebody, it's a little bit different. If this is somebody you don't know at all, or you're reconnecting with them, I would say I guess it still depends. It depends on your relationship and how the conversation goes. Because sometimes people will bring it up and say, hey, I've seen you posting about plexus. What is it? And could it help me with this issue? But if they're not bringing it up and you want to bring it up, always make it about them. No matter how far into the conversation it is. Like, I know I reached out to Emily about the business, and my very first thing, and we hadn't even reconnected yet, but my first message to her was about plexus. And that's kind of rare, but I said something like, I made it about her. I said, people are already watching your health and wellness journey. You're already inspiring so many people. And I think you would be so good at this business because you have the greatest personality for it. So if you make it about them, then it doesn't really matter when you bring it up because you're making it about them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if it's like not really headed in that direction, I would say that's why it's important to like comment on their pictures and be watching what they're posting, so then you can connect yourself to something that they're doing, and then talk about plexus in a more natural way.
Okay.
Does that help?
Hey, I have a question.
Okay.
So it kind
last
of goes
question.
along. Yeah, I'm sorry. It kind of goes along with what Kelly said. So say I've been talking to a few people since like November, and it was kind of going back and forth between plexus and then like personal and then personal and kind of a little bit back to plexus. So when should I start a chat with you? Because it's kind of hard for you to like come in. This is what I've been feeling lately is like you're coming into a conversation and I've already sent them. So is it better for me to just like side text you like, hey, bring you up to speed? Is that better?
Yeah,
Or
that's
when
what I
should
would
be adding you to the chat?
Yeah, so add them whenever you feel like you need my extra support, or add me, sorry, to their chats. And then, yes, in a separate, in like our own chat or in our three-way chat with Jackie, then you can say, hey, Lauren, I'm adding you to a chat with my friend Sarah.
Okay.
I'm making up a name. And this is everything we've talked about so far. These are some of the things she's wanted help with in the past. This is what I've already sent her, and get me up to speed on what you've already been doing so that when I jump in, I don't look like
I
a
feel so
fool.
bad.
No, it's okay. And it's not even about me looking like a fool, but just so that they're like, why do I have to tell my story again? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So just get me up to speed on the side, and then that way I can say, Emily told me a little bit about your story, and this is what I have to say, you know?
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, guys, so I'm going to stop recording.